recognized symbol of excellence for your entertainment.
What do you want to know?
Welcome to Machino Music, the show that puts the music in Machino Music, with your host, me, Brett Strong. Today on Machino Music, we'll be talking all about the cover songs by the band Ghost. Good afternoon, everybody. I have my special guest. You've seen him here before on the Metallica show. Not only is he the biggest Metallica fan I know, he's also the biggest Ghost fan I know.
Indeed.
So Andrew Paul, been here before.
How's it going?
We're trying this again, doing this show, and I had him on before we were outside. Oh, there goes my microphone cover. That's just going to be great. It's going to
rolling
disappear.
across the thing.
Yeah. It's...
Do that again.
No, I'm walking out of frame.
He's way the hell over there.
We can decide to leave that in or just cut that out.
Why not?
But we wanted to do a show here about Ghost. He's like the real big fan of the band. I like a lot of their stuff too, but what I really like are their cover songs. So I thought, to make this kind of work for the both of us, why don't we talk about some of their really cool cover songs? It's gonna be flies and bugs.
Get the hell out of here.
You're gonna see us swatting and stuff.
It's just that same bug's been flying around here for...
We don't have a forecast of rain, so we should be okay, other than we're going to see us swatting.
We don't have to move into the library.
Yeah, and, put up the green screen and all that. But anyway, as I was saying, I really like their cover songs, so I thought it makes kind of work for the both of us. Like, you can give us all the information on Ghost, and also I know a ton about a lot of the bands that they've covered, which are really interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Tobias, the lead singer, has like an insane, almost encyclopedic depth of knowledge about music.
Yeah.
Tons of different decades and whatnot. Heavily influenced by the 70s specifically.
Yeah. Which very much like the host of this program. If you don't know who I'm referring to. But,
Bugs.
I'm referring to the Bugs.
Yeah, they've been hosting all along.
Yeah. But yeah, so let's get into here. Just gonna list them. These aren't ranked. These aren't in any particular order. We're just gonna talk about some of these songs.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you want to give it just a little kind of rundown of I guess the sort of the history of Ghost for people who might not be so inclined on the band, just because it's a really interesting story. It's like a whole backstory, whole thing about this group.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm not sure what year they were formed, but they started performing, in earnest, I guess, in 2010. Back then they were kind of a smaller outfit, if you want to say that, doing small shows here and there, and no one really knew what to make of them, I guess. They got pretty big pretty quickly, though. People knew who they were even back then.
And originally from Sweden?
Yeah.
Yeah. First time I heard about it was the International Award, on one of the Grammy Awards or something. When I get to
oh yeah,
sort of paid attention to the Grammy Awards.
I remember that.
I really don't, but it was like best international or this hard rock metal, but had an international something. It was like, well, this sounds interesting. This doesn't sound like the stuff that's they're all on the rest of this category.
I remember a clip from that where someone was like, "Hey, you have anything to say?" to one of the other ghouls, which is one of the other members of the band who isn't Papa.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, stay away from the Grammys." So that was pretty funny. And then another ghoul in the back's like, "Hi, Mom."
And the ghouls, they could be just about anybody. They're just they're session musicians, obviously, but there's been rumors that they are very famous people that we know from other bands.
Back in the day, Tobias tended to use different people. Nowadays, the ghouls are a set crew that he has that they don't really change unless somebody leaves.
Yeah.
Because he's found his people he likes.
Yeah.
Recently, one of the ghouls left, which was one of my favorites. One of the ghoulettes. The fandom called her Cumulus, but I don't know what her real name is, but her stage name is Mad Gallica. She was freaking amazing. Like, it's gonna be weird not hearing her backup vocals with them anymore, but people have their own musical projects and such that they want to go for, so she left, unfortunately.
So let's talk about their cover songs, because these are some really interesting covers.
For sure.
So the first one I want to start with here is See No Evil, which was originally done by the group Television.
Oh yeah, that was on the Phantomime EP that they put out just after
the Phantomime EP. So it's an EP of just like, what was it, like 6 or so cover songs?
I think it's 5?
5, 6, yeah. But I really dug that, because like it took me a long time to really even get into that song, See No Evil.
Yeah.
Because like Television were a band that I always read about, like having this fascination with like the punk and new wave scene in New York City, and it was doing, I've told this story before, but it was doing the episode of Features of the Night on the Driller Killer, which is now officially a lost episode. You will not find it, just all kinds of blockings and everything, so that episode's gone to wherever. But it was doing that episode, like doing the research on it, and it mentioned the band Television being a part of that, and I went and listened to that album as I was writing the episode, and just right that it clicked. And I'd seen it for years on like great album lists, and it never worked for me. Like, what's the big deal about this? But I don't know, for some reason it clicked. I love the original song, and the Ghost cover is really great.
It is, yeah, it's really good. It has like kind of like a high energy, happy feeling to it. Just like, I don't know, I haven't heard the original, but I know the Ghost cover itself kind of upbeat, like positive sounding.
Well, that's the thing with the song. It's sort of, I guess, a bit of a contradiction of like the See No Evil. It just the sound is just very. It's a very raw song. And Television were kind of one of those bands that kind of did have more of a raw kind of feel. They weren't really a punk band. They were more, more in the new wave. I've included their album Marquee Moon on my favorite new wave albums, also my favorite punk albums. I think I included the punk albums just because I wanted to show I found myself a copy of it. But yeah, when I did my new wave list, somebody actually commented, "Oh, Ghost does a really cool cover of See No Evil." I was like, "Yes, of course I've heard it."
Yeah, it's great.
That's a really good one, yeah.
How about I gotta look at my notes here just so I don't. I wish I could see my damn phone. It's too damn bright out here.
I have the whole list on my.
I only wrote down certain ones, because I wrote a list of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
But why don't we do from Phantomime as well, Jesus He Knows Me?
That's a great song.
It really is. I like the original, but...
Yeah, well, that's considered the best song on what is widely considered the absolute worst Genesis album, We Can't Dance.
Interesting.
I mean, like a lot of sort of like 80s and like the early 90s Genesis started to sound very similar to, really no different than just Phil Collins solo.
I see.
Even though, I mean, it's Phil Collins. People forget how much of a monster player that guy was. It was just drummer, like, whoa, insane. Like, as we listen to like 70s Genesis, you're like, wow, I forgot about Phil Collins and how great this guy is.
I mean, there's a reason why so many people know who he is.
Yeah. But that song's great. The satirical nature, and it works so well for Ghost, which is kind of just very satirical, making fun of the whole idea of
televangelists, just
especially.
The way that kind of things works, and the fact that Ghost released it on Easter Sunday is hilarious.
It's hilarious. It is really funny.
I was like, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Great song. Like Ghost, I prefer Ghost version.
Yeah, I like kind of the updating of it, because there is a kind of a dated sound to a lot of like that era of Genesis, and especially that album. I mean, there's some okay tunes on that. I mean, Jesus He Knows Me is probably the best one on there. But yeah, I mean, We Can't Dance is not a good Genesis. I Can't Dance. I mean, we have a dog here.
Hi.
Hi, dogs.
Some dogs have come to visit us.
Some dogs.
Why is your nose so wet?
Because they're dogs.
All right, that's enough.
Spend their days nosing through the trash. I do want to talk about this. Is a really cool one. Phantom of the Opera.
Oh yeah. Again,
Iron
from
Maiden.
Phantomime.
Yeah, the
That's
Iron Maiden
3 of them.
cover. Yeah, I mean, they're all on there. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what it looks like.
Great cover. I really like it.
Actually, this is one I do prefer more to the original because I mean I don't dislike the Paul Di'Anno era of Iron Maiden.
He's just not as good as...
I mean, once Bruce comes into the
as
band,
Bruce.
it's just like
Yeah.
he just was so perfect. He's so much more theatrical.
Yeah.
And he just so much into the performance. So yeah, Bruce Dickinson and even like Nico McBrain as drummer, who just recently retired.
There are a few bands like that where it took them finding
The
certain
right- yeah, the
vocalists
right-
to make it click.
Yeah, and just
Like-
the right players.
Like the band Nightwish.
Yeah.
Going off a little tangent here.
Yeah.
They found, took years, but they eventually found their new vocalist Floor Jansen, and
Yeah.
she's incredible.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, certain bands you just have to find that right thing to make it click.
Yeah, and Iron Maiden was definitely, and I think, so to have this version of Phantom of the Opera, which I think is so much better because it's like Tobias Forge has this very theatrical,
Yeah.
similar kind of like just like stage presence as like a Bruce Dickinson, so it just totally works
For sure.
and just
It's-
makes me enjoy that song so much.
It's
more.
great. It's cool to hear Ghost's take on it. They didn't really change too much.
No,
Because people would have probably crucified them if they
Yeah.
did.
'Cause
So it's like we
it's
can't
Iron
really do
Maiden.
too much about it.
Yeah.
It's Iron Maiden. You can't
yeah,
like. it
and
was
there are
already-
people who really love those Paul Di'Anno albums. He actually recently passed away. So.
Oh really?
Yeah,
I didn't
so-
know that. Damn.
You know, he was for the start of Iron Maiden and just what they were doing early on. It worked, but I was never a big fan of his just thing overall. It's just I mean, come on,
He's
Bruce
fine.
Dickinson.
Yeah.
Bruce Dickinson.
Bruce. All right. Next, why don't we talk about If You Have Ghosts?
Wow, that's a really good.
It is super well known. A ton of people. They play it
Yeah, it's
pretty
a
much live at
it's a
every
famous
show.
one,
The
yeah.
crowds go crazy for it. It's an awesome song. I recently listened to the original one, and it's weird. I like it, but it's really strange.
Well, that's the thing. Rocky Erickson is one of the most underrated singer-song, like kind of like quirky, bizarro, just like nobody talks about. The first time I ever heard him was like on the old Nights with Alice Cooper radio show. He used to play a lot of really obscure stuff, and he played the song "I Walked with a Zombie" by Rocky Erickson, and the whole song is just over and over, "I walked with a zombie."
Huh.
That's the only words. But it's still such a fantastic song, even though there's like nothing to it. It's just the arrangement and his voice and just how just weird this song is.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm just gonna sing about "I Walked with a Zombie." It's so good, and he has a lot of just like horror kind of songs. His band was Rocky Erickson and the Aliens.
Yeah.
That was his group. So they have like Night of the Vampire or something. Like they have like a lot of really cool, like great Halloween soundtrack. So definitely get some Rocky Erickson, even though he's pretty difficult to find at least physical copies of his stuff. I've never seen Rocky Erickson out in the wild, as they say.
Like the way he sings it in the original, Rocky Erickson
Yeah.
specifically. Like he'll get to these parts and just like it's almost like he continuously goes through lyrics and it doesn't
Yeah.
really match up to the pace or the song previous, but it works somehow. It's really strange.
Yeah, but he's like, wow, one of the just great, underrated, just bizarro, like, who is this guy? When you hear it, it's just like, what is this? Where has this been my whole life?
Yeah, and honestly, that's probably one of
I think
Tobias's deepest cuts in terms of covers.
it's really
like,
deep. Like he's almost, I would almost like say Rocky Erickson is kind of like a horror, sci-fi music, like version of like Bob Dylan. I mean,
Yeah, I can see
lyrics
that.
aren't like, as deep as Bob Dylan, but it's still, it's that same kind of thing. It's like
Yeah.
if there was gonna be like a guy who for that type of music, like the horror sci-fi genre, it would be Rocky Erickson. He definitely fits in there.
For sure. And I guess that's why Tobias chose to cover it
Yeah.
so early on. I think
Yeah.
that came out on the If You Have Ghosts EP, I believe it was
Yeah.
called. And that was after Infestissimum, which was like their second album.
Yeah.
So pretty early on, he was already doing the cover thing, which is fantastic.
And works that it's just so obscure because people would think, oh, this must be an original song.
Yeah.
And you find out it's a cover tune, which is some of the best discovery as a music fan. It's like, oh, the song was a cover, and then the cover's really good.
Once again, I prefer Ghost's version, but Tobias is a freaking musical genius.
Yeah.
Like, he works with other people, of course. It's not just him, but still. Great cover.
Actually, this is what I want to talk about. I'm a Marionette by ABBA.
Oh, yeah.
Another obscure ABBA song.
For sure.
It's a very theatrical song, so it just works for their whole vibe.
I believe that one was on the deluxe version of Prequel.
Yeah.
Also paired with It's a Sin.
Yeah.
I think I could be wrong about that. But anyway, great cover. It's
well, because like ABBA's one of those bands people kind of like just kind of like either they don't want to admit they love ABBA.
Yeah.
Which I believe there's no such thing as a guilty pleasure. If you love it, just love it.
Absolutely.
Just
plus it's ABBA.
It's ABBA. Their song gets stuck in your head.
Yes, it's
whether you want
disco,
them to
but
or
like
not.
disco, it's good. It doesn't matter.
Actually, there's an ABBA song that I am surprised that like no hard rock or metal band has covered. It's a song called "Watch Out," which is from the Waterloo album.
I don't think I've
Just
heard
my
that
favorite my favorite ABBA album is because of this song. I mean, it's like an early heavy metal song. This is 1974.
Huh.
Heavy metal was just starting out. Nobody really knew what to call it. ABBA did one of the first heavy metal songs. It's insane. The opening riff. This is like Supernaut, Black Sabbath kind of riff.
I gotta check that song out now.
It's like, whoa, ABBA, you could say we're like heavy metal pioneers.
Huh.
It's really cool.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, Watch Out is the name of that song. So I'm surprised, like, why hasn't a band covered that song? Come on.
And Ghost got a lot of comparisons to ABBA back in the day because, especially early on, they really leaned into like the 70s touch of it.
Yeah.
So like a lot of the songs, people called them evil Scooby-Doo music.
Evil Scooby-Doo.
Like Satan meets Scooby-Doo meets the Beatles was a
because nobody really got.
combination
Yeah,
of-
it's like, what is this? It's like it's very.
It's good, but it's like really.
It's odd.
Yeah, and of course, nowadays they've sort of leaned more into the rock part of it as opposed to really hitting that sort of 70s feel. But they have done a few songs that are very 70s-ish.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising that they covered ABBA.
No, yeah.
And it's a really good cover. Again.
Okay, another one you just mentioned was "It's a Sin."
Yeah, that
by the
cover's
Pet Shop Boys.
great as well. Yeah.
Actually, when I first heard that was the band Gamma Ray, or a power metal band.
Yeah.
That's the first version I heard of the song before I even heard the Pet Shop Boys original.
Honestly, I didn't even know they covered it. I don't know much Gamma Ray, to be honest.
My favorite Gamma Ray album is the one that it's from Power Plant. That's a really cool album.
Yeah,
The
great
Ghost
cover. I actually haven't heard the original version of It's a Sin either.
Yeah.
It just kind of slipped my mind.
What I find is that actually Neil Tennant, the lead singer of the Pet Shop Boys, sort of has a similar voice to Tobias. But yeah, I find their voices sort of similar. Neil Tennant and Tobias.
I'll have to check out more Pet Shop Boys, right?
Pet Shop Boys, they're just like one of those bands, kind of like the new wave, kind of. I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of Pet Shop Boys, but they got some songs I like. I mean, there's like the one I used to hear that gets stuck in my head all the time. That one is like. You've got the bone, I've got the brain. Let's make lots of money. That song.
Huh.
And also Shopping. That was the other one.
Shopping.
SHOPPING. Actually, the song "It's a Sin" is like totally like another song like Jesus He Knows Me, because it's supposed to be very cynical and just like about the Catholic Church and kind of making fun of that whole thing.
Right, yeah.
And Neil Tennant actually said that he meant the song to be sort of like a heavy metal song.
Interesting.
So the fact that like metal bands have covered it is just totally perfect, because he didn't want to just like go in that direction. Like, all of a sudden, Pet Shop Boys are doing heavy metal. Let's confuse our fan base.
Why not?
But
Keep them on their toes.
But it's cool that the metal bands have covered that song.
For sure, yeah. And Ghost version is great. Again.
It is great. It's another song that just works so perfectly for them.
Pretty much like all their covers are good. Like I love pretty much everything they've done.
Yeah.
So covers or not, they're great band. Ghost,
you want to mention?
Yeah. Let's go with Stay.
Oh, wow.
Stay is really good. It's a great song.
Is this the Stay that was
originally done by Shakespeare's sister?
Okay, yeah. This is one I'm not too familiar with.
It's great. There are two versions of it. One with just Tobias and one with the actor Patrick Wilson. The Patrick Wilson one is the better version. That guy can sing his ass off.
Patrick Night Owl Wilson?
Yeah, I had no idea he could sing that well, but he belts like crazy in that. He's so good.
Wow.
Fantastic
Patrick
cover.
Wilson.
I like the original too. The music video for the original version of Stay is really interesting.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Stay, the doo-wop song. What's that? Maurice Williams? Is that one?
It seems to be about.
Don't you stay?
Nah, it's a different song.
That's what I'm thinking of. It's not an old man's key. Jeez, that was hard to do that one.
Yeah, it sounded like it.
Yeah.
I believe the song Stay is about like someone is thinking of taking their own life maybe, and the other person is trying to like tell them not to, essentially, like stay with me.
And you get Patrick Wilson.
He's so good. Like I did not know he could sing like that.
Yeah.
When I first heard it, I'm like, who is that?
Who is that guy singing? It's the guy from Lakeview Terrace.
Yeah, and The Conjuring and whatnot. And I'm like, that guy can sing like that? Holy crap! Like, amazing. Like, I did not know it, and I'm glad I learned it. Great cover.
Patrick Wilson could sing.
Very different, but it does kick into some rock at the end. But at the beginning, it's very soft. They like pianos and stuff, gentle. It's nice. They put it out for what was it? Insidious: The Red Door. It was like the credits song or something. Because Ghost has had songs in a few movies now. But yeah, great cover. I love that song. Fantastic.
There's another really cool one here. That one is Missionary Man, originally done by the Eurythmics. Yeah, that's a cool. That was because the Eurythmics they're like one of those bands that have so many great songs, and we're like really pioneering. But again, this is not like this was not one of their like, huge songs. It's still a bit more obscure. Has a really cool video.
It does. It's like weirdly stop motion.
Yeah,
almost like kind of.
It's like Annie Lennox's head on like robots and like on a conveyor belt.
And the way she's like, it doesn't even look like she's saying the stuff. It's very weird.
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, that's your Eurythmics, and it's a perfect song for Ghost to do.
Oh yeah.
And actually, I really kind of prefer their version.
Yeah.
Because again, this is arrangement. They do like these really interesting arrangements.
For sure.
Where they take these songs that are already again very theatrical, and but they just find like a little twist in the cover where like they just kind of make it sound like if you're not familiar with the original song, you still go, wow, this is really cool. Like who did this song?
Yeah, it's I love Ghost version. I think it came out on the Pope Star EP that was released after Meliora. Also famously known for being the origin point of one of Ghost's most famous songs, Square Hammer.
That's the one. That's a signature. Like,
yeah,
everyone's like heard that. What's that song?
They finish every concert with that.
Yeah.
Now it used to be they would do Monstrance Clock, but once Square Hammer came out, that was it. And you know what? It's great.
It's a really cool song. And Annie Lennox looked pretty good in that video.
God, that woman was. She still is. She still looks.
She does look like somebody's Scottish grand.
She does, but she's still like super pretty.
Yeah.
Like
sometimes you went a little too hard for me, like with the androgynous thing. But still, there were times where like, hey, Annie Lennox, all right.
I'm down with androgyny. I'll take it.
I'll take it. But sometimes she kind of went a little too hard in it, but it's like, but when she's just like doing the like just a straight just like glam look,
fantastic.
Annie Lennox looked good.
How about Enter Sandman?
Wow, that was one when I saw they did a cover of Enter Sandman.
It's like, very different, and I freaking love it.
They kind of slowed it down.
Yeah.
I mean, not that the original was like fast thrash Metallica, but
they slowed it down, but also like they put their Ghost spin on it, and it works, man. They have a really good version of that. Their version of Enter Sandman is really good.
And that's kind of one of those songs where people like it's like, really, you're gonna go there?
Yeah.
I mean, it's very well known. It's probably one of the most well known songs they've covered.
For sure.
But it's like, you're going there? And they did it. They managed to pull it off.
Metallica put together an album full of covers.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of bands covering their songs. I think it was pretty big. There's a ton of groups and stuff on there. And Ghost got in because...
that was that... actually, I remember that was like... There was like almost a whole thing where covers of Nothing Else Matters. Like, really? Come on.
Yeah. It's like, that's the only song. There's so many other songs that you could choose.
That's why, I mean, and Ghost doing Enter Sandman is another, like, obvious one, but...
It works for them.
And also, it's kind of one of those ones where, like, okay, maybe people don't even want to touch that one.
Yeah. Ghost is like... Tobias is like, no, we're doing this.
We're doing Enter Sandman.
And, yeah, they killed it. It's a great version of Enter Sandman. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Before I'm interrupted by flies. Interestingly enough, Ghost is one of James Hetfield's like favorite bands. Apparently,
have they ever opened for Metallica?
They have.
Yeah,
they have. And it must have been interesting for Tobias because again, he was a big fan of Metallica. To learn that they like him, like his band. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, big mutual fans of each other.
That would have been. Can you imagine like one of the most popular bands on the planet being like, yeah, we've been listening to you for a while. Like, that's crazy.
And you're like, well, I've been listening to you for like a real long while.
My entire life.
Okay, another one cool in here that I want to mention is a song called Hanging Around.
Another one off of Phantomime.
Yeah, original from the band The Stranglers. Now, I actually first heard, like, sort of became more familiar with the Ghost cover. Like, what is this? And then I listened and it's like, wow, listen. And I love the original now. I love that song. And actually, that whole Stranglers album is really good. I only kind of knew the Stranglers. They were just one of those early, like, sort of like punk, sort of new wave bands, kind of in and album 4, which is what we're hanging around, is a fantastic album.
I'll have to check it out. I don't think I've heard the original of that, which is weird because I took a bunch of time listening to the originals of the covers, but I think I only picked the ones that I have on my list.
Yeah. So, I just wrote down every one of them.
I see.
It's just like, hey, let's talk about a bit of everything here.
I mean, they can take...
What's cool about Ghost's version of this song is in the solo, it's an excerpt from Fade to Black by Metallica, which is really cool.
It's awesome. When I heard that, I'm like, hey, that's Fade to Black.
Reference.
Look at that.
Yeah, so they get another Metallica reference in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Like we said, it's like two eras coming together.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of you, you're a fan of me. Oh, wow, this is great.
We're going to slip a reference to Fade to Black in a cover song from a completely different band. And it works.
I'm from Jersey, you're from Jersey.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm from Jersey. Are you from Jersey? Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I'm from Jersey.
The great thing is that, like I said, it works. Slipping Fade to Black into the solo works. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it totally works. And in this song, which doesn't really have that feel to it, and they just put in the what the hell? Let's put in the Fade to Black solo
we'll
right in the middle of this song. It totally works. Yeah,
fantastic.
Probably another one that's very well known song. They actually tackled "Sympathy for the Devil" by Rolling Stones.
Not specifically a Ghost cover. It was done by Tobias with a group called the Helicopters.
Yeah, I've heard of the Helicopters. Yeah, they're not bad. They're cool.
I haven't really listened to much of them. I only know the "Sympathy for the Devil" song cover, but so it's not technically a Ghost cover.
But I just thought it was an interesting one to bring up because
absolutely, it's really good.
A lot of people have covered that song. It's probably like the most covered Rolling Stones song. I mean, there's so many great Rolling Stones songs.
For sure.
Like Guns N' Roses have a very popular cover of that song. Ozzy Osbourne has covered it.
Of course.
But to hear Ghost version, actually, I would say theirs is probably up there with one of my favorite covers of that tune.
I like the way it builds.
Yeah.
Like it starts very low energy, very slow.
Yeah.
Every verse, he brings it up a notch until the very end when he's like practically belting it out.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, that one's really cool.
Tobias can sing, man.
He can sing. He can
Very
sing.
unique voice, but
Unique voice. That's why he's similar to it's like Neil Tennant from the Pet Shop Boys. But he has like he could be like totally like in the 80s like new wave, but then he also has this like metal voice as well. He's just this great rock voice.
yeah. Which, I mean, technically Ghost are a rock band.
Yeah.
They have songs that you could consider metal.
Yeah.
Like, I'd consider that new one that they just put out, Lacrima.
That's pretty metal. That's
so good.
Yeah.
The riff is insane.
That's a big riff. I truly dig that. Yeah.
The chorus is very poppy, very Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
I know this is not a cover. It's Ghost.
Yeah,
I go off on tangents.
It's still a great. Yeah, it's still a great song.
If you haven't heard Lacrima, which, I mean, I don't know when this video is coming out, but Lacrima's current for me. It just came out. But if
Yeah.
you haven't heard it, listen to it. That song's fantastic.
This will be released like before or after the new album comes out
Yeah.
on April 25th.
Well, yeah, if it's after that, then go pick up the album if you haven't.
Yeah.
Support them.
Okay, this one you have one. That's the one I have to talk about. That's like really exciting.
Let's see here. How about Here Comes the Sun?
This one. When I heard that they did a cover of Here Comes the Sun, I was just like, okay, this better be good. That song, that is one of my favorite Beatles songs. It's George Harrison is my favorite Beatle. I love that song. I have loved that song since the first time I heard it. So when I saw Ghost, I was okay, don't screw this up. Like I'd be so mad if it was screwed up and if it sucked.
No, it doesn't. It's great.
It's really good. They actually managed to make it.
Yeah.
Did something like different with it, but it still works.
They took the song and essentially took the original feel, didn't change the lyrics or anything,
Yeah.
and flipped it on its head.
Yeah.
So instead of it being like upbeat and happy, it's dark and brooding. Like,
Yeah.
And it works.
To make that work, that's why I was so like, okay. I was like just afraid to hear it because I saw like they did it. They went there. You can't do this song.
And the thing is, like, that was a bonus song from the Japanese version of their very first album, Opus Eponymous, which I'm not a massive fan of that album. It's good. They got good songs on it, but it's my least favorite Ghost album. But that cover of Here Comes the Sun, chef's kiss. It's fantastic. It's so good.
I was because like. I like the original is very very upbeat.
Yeah.
And just the melody of it. I mean, it's the Beatles. Come on, it's just an amazing song because the Beatles were absolutely amazing, influenced everybody, and I mean George Harrison again, my favorite Beatle, and he turned this beautiful song into something very dark and ominous. So it's just like.
And it still manages to be beautiful.
It still manages to be beautiful in its own way.
So good. What Beatles do we have left? Who's left? Is it just Paul and Ringo?
Paul and Ringo. Yeah.
Damn.
I saw Ringo live. We're going on another tangent here. I saw Ringo live in 2022. It was like first concert back after a lockdown. Had to see Ringo in his all-star band. I mean, it's like that's when I ever get to see a Beatle.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't even know. He's like at the time he was like 81 years old. He runs out on stage, so much energy. Like
that's crazy.
This guy stopped the clock. Like what is? Wow, it's amazing. And he still has so much energy. Still sounds pretty good, and he can still drum like. Wow.
That's insane that he's doing that stuff at like in his 80s. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Some people are just like immortal.
Yeah,
you can't stop him.
He's definitely really good, and he'd be cool. Like I'd love to see him do collaborations with people like Ghost.
That'd be fantastic.
Who've done covers of his songs because he's done a few collaborations with artists who have been influenced by the Beatles. It'd be cool to see him do kind of with more like the real rock guys.
I mean, I'm sure he could do it.
I don't think he really has. I don't even think Paul McCartney even really has.
I mean, I don't know of his like religious affiliations, but maybe he'd have an issue with performing with a Satanist band on stage, but who knows?
I think he seems pretty cool. Like, he doesn't care. He's just like what if like Ringo in interviews and stuff? He's just like, I don't care.
Nice,
whatever. Yeah.
So it could happen. I mean, it would have had to happen a long time ago. But still, that's awesome that he's still doing that at that age. All right, so you mentioned a cover that you wanted to bring up.
This one I was excited about. It was the one on their covers EP that I was the most excited when they did. We Don't Need Another Hero by Tina Turner. Because I'm a drag queen, so of course I'm an absolute. I love Tina Turner. She's awesome. So that was when I was excited. When they're doing Tina Turner. Nobody does Tina Turner.
No.
Except if you're a drag queen and you're probably lip syncing it. But that one is like. It's a lot of fun.
It is. Again, following a bit of a trend here, they took that song, covered it, and knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, made it like it still has the very theatrical, very big song. The best part of that Mad Max movie, really.
Yeah.
Because that movie was pretty bad. But that song,
Beyond Thunderdome.
Beyond Thunderdome, and that song is really the best part of that movie.
Yeah.
And Tina Turner's cameo, which is like. All right, or like full role. She had like more than a cameo in that.
I think they released it like a few days or a week before Tina's death.
Yeah, that's right. It did come out around
like just before, like maybe 3 days before. I think it was very close.
Yeah.
And then there was an interview with Tobias after the fact, and he was talking about how much like he liked Tina's music and whatnot. And then he went off on Ike Turner and told him to rest in shame.
He should rest in shame. He should rest in shit.
Yeah, and I was like, that's...
Yeah.
Good job, Tobias.
Yeah, good job.
Man after my own heart.
Yeah, just... Ike Turner.
Rest easy, Tina.
Yeah, Tina Turner, just like... There's that great documentary where she talked about just like how hard it's been for her to get away from Ike Turner and his influence, because obviously, I mean, she wouldn't be where she never would have got to where she was without him.
Yeah.
But just the guy was just terrible. He was a horrible person.
Yeah.
But she managed to get out from that,
which is awesome.
And that song, We Don't Need Another Hero, is just.
It's really good.
That's a fantastic song.
I like both versions. There's another band that covered that song too.
There's been a few, I think, that have done that one.
It's like a Finnish all-star group called Northern Kings.
Oh yeah, Northern. Yeah, they've done a few cool covers.
They covered We Don't Need Another Hero. They essentially take songs and completely reimagine them.
Yeah,
but their version of We Don't Need Another Hero wasn't changed that much.
Yeah.
I guess they're like, it's Tina, we don't need to touch it.
No, and even Ghost doesn't really didn't go too much from like the original sound and real vibe of the original song.
I mean, there's not much that you could do to change that song and still have it be as good as it is.
Yeah.
So Ghost did put their own spin on it, but it sounds like the original.
Yeah.
Because it's Tina Turner.
And it just has that
bugs.
At least it didn't bite. Yeah, there's all the ones I have, so there you go.
Nice.
Those were the cover songs of Ghost. Really cool band. And, check out some of the bands if you haven't already. There's some pretty big name bands they've covered, just maybe not the most well-known songs that they've chosen. But, check out the band. They got a new album coming out. When is that, April 25th?
April 25th. It's called Skeleta.
And again, I don't know when the hell this is going to air.
There are 2 singles out for it right now as we're recording this. Satanized and Lacrima. And the funny thing about Satanized is that you'd think, considering the name, it would be a highly satanic song.
Yeah.
It's really not.
Well, that's the thing. It's like in the tradition of these so-called satanic bands, and Ghost is very much in there with the Alice Coopers and Kiss.
Yeah.
And, even Black Sabbath groups. These are really like metal hard rock bands where they're like, oh, they're into Satan. No, they're just they're just having fun with it. And they're just they're not taking it seriously.
No, I mean, their whole image is that they're supposed to be like a satanic version of the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
So, Tobias portrays a sort of satanic pope called Papa.
Yeah.
And his band is a bunch of nameless ghouls.
Yeah, and that's hilarious.
It's great.
If you get it, you get it.
At first, I didn't get it when I first heard their stuff.
Yeah.
But then around 2018, I think it was, I heard Square Hammer, and I was like, okay, I think I'm starting to get it. And then I looked up what their newest album was, and I saw it was Pre-Cal, and I listened to that all the way through, 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
Because I was like, man, that album's fantastic. What the hell have I been thinking? And then I went back and listened to all their other stuff, and it was just a rabbit hole that I'm still in.
Still in the rabbit
It's comfy
hole.
in here.
It is comfy in this
Come on in.
hole. Come in too.
Yeah.
Join us in the rabbit hole of this band and these covers that are pretty out there, but really cool if you want to check them out.
Very good.
So if you're a fan of Ghost, I hope you enjoyed this. That's it for this week. Until we meet again, this is Brett Strong saying good journey.